On the Newshour this evening, we are going across to our guests in Lahore, in London, in Washington and in New Delhi. Let me introduce on the top right-hand side of your screen is Kamran Shafi, columnist with Dawn News, very well-known writer, and he's written an exceptionally open article from the heart. I will quote a little bit from, but before that, let me introduce our guest from London this evening, head of the Asia Security Program at RUSI, well-known strategic think tank, and Alexander Neil. With us also, Ajit Doval, the highly respected former director of the Intelligence Bureau, and we will get our guest from Washington in just a bit. Let me quote what Kamran Shafi said, talking about this deal with the Taliban, and in the context of that, he says, and let me quote him, "What has gone wrong with us, I ask?" He talks of Pakistan. "Is this the country I was born in? Is this cruel and ugly place the Pakistan I knew whilst growing up and going to college in Lahore, where boys and girls would cycle to their schools and colleges as a matter of course? Is this tortured land the same land I call mine?" Kamran Shafi, tell me, now that you also hear this news, I don't know if you've heard it, about a GEO TV reporter being killed on duty in the Swat region. Is this getting out of hand? Is this all getting out of hand?
Well, it seems to me to be getting out of hand, especially when the state makes deals under force of arms. But let me just go back a little bit and say that an Indian reader who sent me an email today reminded me that I wasn't born in Pakistan. I was born in January 1946, when it was all United India. So just to correct you on that one. But yes, we have a problem.
And how does this problem now unfold, Mr. Shafi? Because you can't make peace with the Taliban and expect them to respect your sovereignty or Pakistan as a nation. They could run Pakistan over.
Well, no country can buckle under force of arms, as India cannot buckle under the force of arms from wherever it has this problem, as indeed it had in Punjab, or that it has in northeast India. So, as I said before, yes, we have a problem, and the Pakistani state has to ensure that its writ is accepted throughout the country. Otherwise, you are absolutely right, we do have a problem.
Alexander Neil, how is London looking at it? How is the West, let me put it this way, looking at these developments, especially this so-called deal, which is so difficult to understand? How could Zardari have done a deal with the Taliban?
Well, I think from a Western perspective, some of the images we've seen on our screens about the application of Sharia law since the Taliban infiltrated the Swat Valley over the last 2 years, that's what comes onto the TV screens and into the newspapers. I think one of the concerns is that this decision has been made over the head of the people who populate the Swat Valley. So you have the government of Pakistan and a non-state actor coming to an agreement without any form of consultation with the local population. Now, I know there's been some degree of celebration that peace, so-called peace, has descended on the valley. But what I do fear, and I think there's concerns here in London, is that the Swat Valley will become a bridgehead for the so-called Talibanization of the settled areas in Pakistan. And that bridgehead may well link the insurgency that's occurring in the northwest frontier province around Peshawar and across in a sort of pincer movement down towards the Punjab.
That's the real danger for India. I want to hold up a document for our viewers. If you can see this document here, this is a US government declassified document. It has actually been available in public since 2007. It's a US intelligence document. It clearly says, and I know the fine print is very difficult to read there, but it tells you the whole story about how Pakistan has been providing the Taliban with financial and military assistance for years now. The same people who are now threatening to run Pakistan over, the US knew that Pakistan was providing them support. This is a 2007, 2 years back America knew, and for probably a decade before that America knew. My question to you, Ajit Doval, is if America knew, what was America doing all this while? It had such control over Pakistan. If they knew, and this is only one of the documents which is available, if it knew, what was it doing so far?
Well, I think the Americans made a very basic mistake in having their net assessment wrong, that Pakistan's tactics and Pakistan's strategy were running parallel and even contrary to each other. Whatever it was doing from September 11, 2001 was to tactically withstand and divert the global pressure and do whatever is required to see that the pressure can be sustained up to a point. But internally, neither their heart nor their strategy was in containing terrorism or stopping Islamic radicalism or fighting the Taliban, Al-Qaeda and their affiliates. Now, this is what has happened today, that this basic contradiction. Pakistan army is not giving the resistance that was required to be given in many places. And let me tell you one thing. This is not the first time it's happening. On September 6, 2006, they had a similar deal with Dadullah, who was then commanding the Taliban faction, and they sold the line to the Americans that this tactical thing will help us because the moderate Taliban will come on our side and will take on the hardcore Taliban. And forced India on September 16, 2006. It's important to declare in Havana that Pakistan is a terrorist victim state and not a terrorist sponsoring state. India should not have done that strategic mistake.